spray the dark edges of the burst that we're going to do, we're going to need to use the Encore Brown Balin see-through toner lacquer. Now the trick to spraying a sunburst is to always spray from the center of the body mass outwards towards the edges. You never spray from the outside in. That way the edges and the transition from the light amber to the dark brown is misted and gradual, which gives you that beautiful sunburst effect that we all love. So what you want to do is pick a center point at the base of the fingerboard here, and then we're going to spray outwards very lightly in a thin mist. You only want about a quarter of the cone of mist that's coming out of your can to actually hit the top of the guitar. The rest of it's just going to go off into the distance because we want very little gradual paint application as we work outwards towards the edge. So we've got our pre-warmed can, and here we go. See how I'm doing small light passes, and I'm only spraying the outer edge of the body. We'll worry about the horns, which are pretty dark, after we've got the outline of the center burst established. So just keep with light passes, always spraying outward, spraying towards the edge. Gradually, between 5 or 6 or 10 passes, you'll get the whole thing dark. But as you can see, we're getting that beautiful sunburst. For the horn and the exterior edges that are fairly dark, make light crosswise passes, successively darkening as they end up outwards. The trick is very light paint application with only a little bit of what you spray actually ending up on the guitar body itself. Go ahead and finish this up. Just we're going to do a straight line and meet here in the middle. You can see very little of the dark paint is getting on the inside here. Most of it is ending up on the exterior of the burst, which is perfect. That's where we want it. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, upper model Gibsons had sunburst sides as well as back and top. Lower priced models such as the Junior had solid sides and backs. It was just less labor intensive, therefore less cost. So what we're going to do is kind of mix it up a little bit here, and we're going to put a sunburst on the sides and a sunburst on the back. So let me show you how you do that. The first thing obviously is to take our amber, go ahead and do the sides and the back, get a nice even coat that matches the interior of our top sunburst. Remember to spray across an edge. Remember to spray starting off the body, spray lengthwise and finish off the body. Lengthwise, lightly overlapping strokes. This is the amber coat that we're going to do on the back, and we need it to match the front. So very light, very even. Then we're going to do a light cross pass. And there you go. For the sides, we're going to split them up into 4 zones like we did with the sealer, which is top side, bottom, bottom side, and end. Okay? So we've just done this top or half of the side. And then for this bottom half, we're going to spray down and lengthwise. Okay? Then we'll flip it over and we'll do the same thing to the top side. Position the spray so that we're coming down and off this bottom. The bottom, basically the same point. We want to spray half of it off that edge, starting with the sprayed edge. Same thing as flip it around and last but not least are the interior cutaways. You want to spray them at an angle and not directly down into it. And then we're going to spray off this edge, flip it over and spray off this edge. You don't need much because the end grain here absorbs more paint, so therefore it's going to be darker by nature. Alright, we have now done all four sides and the back with this beautiful gold lacquer. So we're going to let this dry for another 2 hours. And then after that, we'll start with the bursting process. And I'll show you how we do the sides. That's kind of a unique thing that Gibson did. Certain parts of it are shaded dark, certain parts are shaded gold. For the rear of the neck, all we need to do is continue our lengthwise, light overlapping passes. We're going to start with the top of the peg head, run down the side, and keep lengthwise, slightly overlapping as we roll the neck over. We're going to spray off the peg head and off of the fingerboard, never onto the fingerboard. Before we do that, let's go ahead and start and shade the headstock with our amber burst. Once again, light overlapping passes. And that's it. For the tongue, same thing. Light overlapping passes. Roll it over. Start at the top. Lengthwise, light, overlapping, even passes. You're not applying a lot of lacquer, you're coloring the lacquer. Then we're going to clear coat on top of this so that it protects the color that we've just applied. We're going to repeat the sunburst process for the back using the same teardrop pattern as we did on the front. Sprayed the top and the back with our teardrop burst design. Now we're going to do a burst on the sides of the body, much like what we're going to end up doing on the peg head as well. So shooting at a downward angle, we're going to leave this part of the lower bout and the top bout unshaded, and then we're going to shade just the tips of both horns, leaving the neck joint shaded as well with a small gap in between. And then we're going to leave unshaded the rear quarters and shade the bottom end where the strap pin is going to be. So to get the process started, easiest way is find your center line, which is where the seam of the wood is, and then shoot a quick burst, keeping your paint can parallel to the body top. Don't shoot it from either side because you'll mess up your burst that you shot. So basically just shoot some real light crosswise shots from the middle out to get yourself started. You only want to do about a 4-inch strip. Now once you've got that middle part done, start from the outside in and darken it just slightly. And there's your first burst pattern. Let that dry horizontally for about 10 minutes, and then we'll start with the side patterns and then the horns and just work our way around. We've sprayed our center shaded section, and now we're going to do quarter sides. In other words, we're going to start at about where the output jack hole is and carry it about 5 inches over, leaving this lower bout waist unadorned and golden in color. So we're going to start from the outside of the hole spraying in to get a nice shaded mist. And believe me, we want to make sure that we have a really strong grip on the body, and we're just going to aim it perpendicular to the plane of the body. And then we're going to start from this side and do the same thing. Then we're going to let that dry for about 10 minutes, flip it over, and do the same thing. Now what we're going to let this do is dry for about a good 2 days. And then we're going to start with the clear coating. Clear coating is going to take care of all the imperfections in the finish. We're going to build up some clear layers and then wet sand them. And then we're going to glue it together and play it.